Yeah, welcome back. All the reports claim that the Irish economy is going from strength to strength, but not everyone is seeing that in their pocket. And consumers still need to be careful with whatever income they may now have.
It's the ice cream, it serves you right.
I've had too much ice cream.
Right, here to talk us through it is financial advisor Paul Merriman of askpaul.ie. Good morning to you, Paul.
Good morning.
You and I didn't get any ice cream. We'll get some.
No, we didn't.
We'll get some after
and
this.
we're inside.
Exactly, and we're inside. You're disappointed about that. We're talking about consumer spending. Important to say, not everyone feeling.
No, that's a big thing,
the
I suppose.
bonus and the spare income.
If anyone's watching this morning, they haven't noticed it yet. I suppose it might be a tough few minutes for them because they're going to promote how well things are going. But obviously, there's going to be those households that haven't seen it yet, and it might take a while to trickle through to them. But overall, the economy is doing really well. Last year, consumer spend is back up. Disposable income's up by over 5%. So I suppose today's talk is really about just a warning for people. I mean, these things are going well. But if you look at what we did the last time this happened in the 2000s, was we borrowed up to our hilt. So we're kind of just putting a warning out there to clients and consumers to maybe stay away from the shiny adverts that are now coming from the banks. They're on Twitter, they're on Facebook, they're on Instagram. I've even seen an ad for dental practices advertising loans to get your teeth fixed on Snapchat the other day. So this thing of getting people back into the trap of borrowing is going to become more prevalent because people have extra money to spend.
But have we learned the lesson?
I don't know. Well, if you look at 2007, this time in 2007, by half year 2007, the nation on a household basis borrowed 21 billion. This year we've only borrowed 489 million. So we're not as billion.
So we were living far beyond our means.
And there's some
clear
lesson to see from those figures. So this is just basically when the banks and the financial institutions see that disposable income is up, they know people have extra money in their back pocket, and they're going to try and get you to part with that money, not in a sensible way, in a borrowing way.
Yeah, but Paul, is the realism that the majority of us, or the majority of the country, are still paying back the money that they borrowed in 2007. And realistically, they say, as you said, 5% consumer spend has gone up last year. What percentage of the population is that talking about? Because not everybody's seen that benefit.
No, definitely not everybody, as we said earlier on. So there is a shift, I suppose. I mean, look, the main thing here is if you haven't got that extra bit in your wage packet yet, or you haven't seen it come through, I have a funny feeling after the next budget it might make a little bit of a means for people, and you're going to see it trickle through eventually over the next 18 to 24. But give you a statistic, like 5% disposable income's up by 5%. And like I said, that's a trigger for banks to realise, and financial institutions to realise, that you have a little bit more, every one of those people have a little bit more in your pocket, and they want you to get that money into them and borrow more. And that's their main marketing message.
So they'll throw offers out.
Yeah, you see offers out.
So the things we can do to cut spending, ultimately, regardless of your financial situation, I suppose, remortgaging.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this. I say this all the time. The biggest one that anyone can do, the biggest outgoing is, generally speaking, someone's mortgage if they have their own house, if they own their own property. In that, Ulster Bank came out last week with a massive rate slash down to 2.3%. So there's this bit of a price war now going to come with the Irish banks, which is great for consumers. That's a good thing for consumers. It's great for everybody. So I'd urge anybody that's on a variable rate, not a tracker, your tracker is obviously sacred, but if you're on a variable rate mortgage, and you might have been one of these people that started to borrow back in 2013 and 14 when the economy was just about making recovery steps. If you have, and your rate's anyway above 3% or 3.5%, get in and start talking to financial brokers and start talking to mortgage advisors and banks about lowering that rate.
It's a substantial saving
It's a substantial saving,
percentage rate.
And one of my biggest videos on my Facebook page, Ask Paul, this year was about the European banks having a much lower interest rate than our banks in Ireland. And I was promoting the fact that in Spain you can get mortgages at 1.5%, 2% over 20, 30 years compared to here. And now Ulster Bank have done this. So it's a really, really good move for consumers. And you can save thousands over the lifetime of your mortgage.
And obviously you're more likely to get a bank to take you on when you already have a mortgage.
And it's a much easier...
Because getting the mortgage in the first place can be tricky.
And it's a much easier process because the bank have confidence because you've already bought. It's not like going in as a first-time buyer.
And there's a track record there.
A track record, they love it. And the other thing I say is that when you do this, there's a couple of options for clients. Obviously, they can save money on a monthly basis, so maybe 50, 60 or a couple of £100 a month, which is great. But the other option is if you keep your repayments the same, if you're comfortable paying the current repayments, if you keep them the same, you can knock years off the end of your term. So if your mortgage going to 70 at the moment because you're struggling, you could bring it down to 65 or even 60 years of age, but just change your interest rate. So it makes a massive impact on your financial planning for kind of 10, 15, 20 years away.
Incredible the options that are out there. But if
It
people
is.
want details, they can go on to...
Yeah, the askpaul.ie Facebook page, yeah.
Brilliant.
So-
Good man. You want to get some ice cream?
Definitely.
Right. We'll sort that for you, don't
Thanks
worry.
very much, Paul, as always. Right after the break, we're on the catwalk with some great colourful fashion for the sunny day that it is. See you.